Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rod Singleton filling in for Brennan Dunn Esquire, who is now jet-setting around the Southeast Asia, that is. Usually he's at the helm facilitating these discussions, but tonight, if all of our viewers who are online, I know you're recognizing there's a much taller, much more handsome gentleman sitting here for your viewing pleasure. Now for the obligatory introduction of all of my co-hosts here tonight. Obligatory. I have Quentin Broadwater here, Chief Engineer. Yep.
You forgot my name?
No, I didn't. You look like you were distracted.
I'm always distracted.
I did forget your name. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
What's my name, Rod?
I forgot, man. Introduce yourself.
I have no name right now, guys.
Damon, I forgot your last name. I remember your first name. Introduce yourself, man. Knock it off.
Damon Parrish, thank you.
Damon Parrish, Esquire, defense attorney extraordinary. And we have our beautiful guest here today, Mrs. Genesis Draper. She's also an attorney. She's here to join the discussion today. Give us the female perspective on a lot of issues.
Thank you.
I'll try.
All right. So today we'll get started on the first topic. We're going to start with general news.
All right.
And what's burning up the airways right now is this talk about Paul Manafort. As all of us who know what Paul Manafort is the previous campaign strategist for the Donald Trump campaign, who's now in the hot seat right now. He's on trial, federal trial for tax evasion as well as bribery charges as well. His trial now is going into the fourth day of jury deliberations, and it's been pretty protracted, which is why it's making the news. Some people have been reporting that the jurors as well as the judges have been threatened throughout this process, and we just want to touch on that. So I'll get started. I'll let the attorneys get started first.
So, although it's day 4, I don't think they've actually had 4 days of deliberation. They started on Friday, today's Monday, so really it's only 2 days of deliberation. In a jury trial, it's not that uncommon for jurors to deliberate for a prolonged period of time, but there will come a point where both sides or the judge will ask the jurors to make a decision. They will add what's called an Allen charge. They'll say, hey, come in, guys, and we're going to read this Allen charge to you. It's from United States v. Allen. And it basically says, guys, we had this trial. It's been going on for a while. You got to make a decision here if you can, as long as you don't do a violation to your own belief system. And if you can make a decision, please go do so. Understand if you don't, the case might get retried. It might take some more time, whatever. And then it's basically the judge pressuring the jury to make a decision. And then the jury goes back, deliberates some more, and either they convict, not convict, or still hung. I personally do not like Allen charges. I foresee that coming in the pipeline. I think an Allen charge is very coercive. And
what is an Allen charge again?
I just said, you want me to say it again?
Yeah, please.
If you gave the long version, it's basically the judge saying, hey, we've been up here listening to this trial, so y'all need to go back there and think long and hard and try to make a decision. They say it in, no, you said it in a much longer way. He is basically, or he or she, is basically telling the jury, you need to go back there and really try to think about this thing and come to a decision. They do it after a couple of days. I expect they're probably going to do it in the next day or so.
I think tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think tomorrow they'll do that. And so the importance is this is a litmus test for, I guess, United States v. Trump. This is the first, or Mueller v. Trump, I should say. Right. This is the first person that's gone to trial. Every other person has pled or is in a process. It doesn't necessarily mean, because Virginia is a kind of a Republican state, so it doesn't necessarily mean that if he didn't get a conviction, it's the end of it. But certainly if Mueller was able to get a conviction of Manafort in this case, it would go far in this investigation in Trump or Trump's party on this Russian collusion. So it's interesting from a legal standpoint and a criminal standpoint to see what's going on in here and how it might impact every other prosecution Mueller might bring forward.
Well, at the same time, if he doesn't get a conviction, they might as well just shut that down.
So that much is on the line right now.
I think the first person you try, if you don't get a conviction, everybody else is going to feel emboldened, and it's going to make the investigation look so much weaker. People are already skeptical as it is. If they don't get a conviction, shut it down.
What if they get a hung jury?
Even still. I think that will weaken people's confidence in the investigation. People already feel like it's a waste of time, that if he gets convicted, Trump is just going to whip out a pardon anyway.
Which is why I'm not that invested in it. Because I know for a fact that's a classic Donald Trump move. He has the power and he has the whip.
And he probably tied into it. If this dude go down, then it's probably going to trail back to other people.
I mean, if that's the case, people have already pled. People have already pled. And so if they were, if that assumption is correct that Trump can just pardon you, why plead at all? Why not just hold your fort and wait and drag it out?
I think some of the people in the beginning were scared up or whatever, but some of these jokers are going to be real emboldened. And if he doesn't get convicted or if he gets pardoned, you're going to find people left and right saying, "Come get me."
I didn't mean they shouldn't.
I know if I was on that jury, I'd be worried.
Worried about what?
Trump, come on, man. You don't think Trump done killed had a couple people getting killed?
Man, you over here conspiracy theorizing.
You think, come on, man.
All right, so Trump's
You think if it come down to Trump going down or something possibly actually happening to him, you don't think he'll put a hit out on somebody?
First of all, this is Manafort, not Trump. Trump is not in a mafia. He's not a mafioso. Trump probably ain't killed a man.
I disagree, 100%.
Now, if it was me versus Putin, I would let Putin ride on anything because I'm scared of that man, but not Trump.
Scared or not, I understand them being worried.
Yeah. All right. So keeping with the White House theme, the White House has been providing us countless amount of fodder over the last couple of years, and I guess I said that previous topic was the hottest topic, but I think the Omarosa
Not in the black community.
the ongoing issue with Omarosa versus Donald Trump right now is probably the most entertaining as well as substantive matter that's going on in the White House right now. I know last week we spoke about Omarosa, and a lot of commentary was negative about Omarosa from the black community, and I defended Omarosa personally. I don't really agree with her politics, but I agree that her intercession in the White House has been a benefit to us, and I think I think so. But you can respond. Matter of fact, go ahead. Say what you have to say.
Finish what you got to say.
I'm done. Go ahead.
Well, I'm actually.
I got something to say. We all got that one cousin when we all stay at grandma's house that don't come be on the team until grandma whoop her ass too. So I feel like that's what Omarosa doing now. She done got put to the side by Trump and all his people. She ain't got nowhere to go. So of course you're gonna run back to. You're gonna try to come back and get on the team now.
That's ridiculous, though.
How is that ridiculous?
So Omarosa never.
When has Omarosa ever done anything for the black community?
Really?
When?
How's that a requirement of anybody of black to say in order for you to be black you have to service?
But that's your whole. That was your whole argument going in that you want to go in and be the lead to improve the black community. What one thing has she done that the black community has felt the impact of in a positive way?
She brought us back some information.
What
information?
Listen,
It's
one. So you're an attorney. It's not about what's true. It's about what can be proven. You agree?
But what has
So the fact that Donald Trump has had all these nefarious dealings in the White House, that hasn't been proven factually.
I disagree. I think that there have been instances where, like the situation with his son, I think there have been instances where it's shown that he is up to no good. I don't think Omarosa is giving us new information.
So you think there's incontrovertible?
You
think there's been incontrovertible evidence up to this point before Omarosa provided tapes to show us that he has been contradicting himself as others have claimed?
Countless.
Okay.
Countless.
So you don't think this adds anything to?
No, I think it's entertaining, and I'm willing to, accept it for that. But other than that, I don't think she's providing anything of substance.
So the fact that Omarosa is playing this chess game with Donald Trump and she's outmatching right now, she's essentially baiting them to say a lie, and then she puts out a tape to corroborate her story, her version of the truth, right? You don't think that's different from what's been going on before?
No, I think that is all we've had since he's been there.
Really?
He'll say a thing, and then 6 months later, something will come out to totally contradict that, and he's like, "Oh, my bad." Or I didn't even say that other thing. You imagine that other thing that I said.
What do we gain by her? What she's presenting to us now? What do we gain by this? We all feel like this anyway.
She telling us stuff.
She telling us stuff that we already. His
in a more
actions
entertaining
show
way.
us already.
So I understand why you want to support her, but why the animus towards Omarosa? That's my question.
Right.
Why
I feel
like
now you're trying to get in our corner because you have nowhere to go.
I don't think she's doing that. I don't think Omarosa ever was one to ingratiate herself to particular people. She's very self-serving. I don't think now she's not even parroting the certain talking points and saying the right verbiage to ingratiate herself to the black community. She's just being Omarosa right now. So give me an example of what you mean.
So who do you think she's trying to put this information out
Omarosa,
to? She put it out to the white
Omarosa
community?
is being classic black woman scorn. I got tapes, I got recordings, I got your ass, Now say something else. Say something else.
No.
And they're not equipped to combat that.
I don't think
and that's what's different about this.
So I agree with Ron on that completely. I don't see why everybody has an issue with Omarosa now.
Because she presented herself as somebody who was the liaison.
Save the black
between
community.
The president and black people. She came on television multiple times to say the president is not a racist, he's not this, and he's not that, and y'all are all gonna bow down to him.
Exactly.
And now here you are trying to give us all
call
these
you a
tapes
dog.
how he done used the N-word. Child, we already knew
she's
that.
come around and saying, here you are. I don't think
What
Omarosa.
she said
I don't think
earlier was
Omarosa-
totally contradictory, and it was she was
Absolutely.
only saying that to serve
It's
us.
self-serving in rhetoric, but that's been her. But I don't see
Agreed.
how she's done anything to the negative or detriment of the black people. Like I don't see where Omarosa has put policies in place that hurt us.
Right,
She's
my
helped
life
us,
is
she's
not
hurt
worse
us.
because of her. I just
Thank you.
can't stand
This
it.
is classic.
I mean-
I'm taking you out of the field and putting you in the White House, so forget the rest of y'all. That's what she did. That's when she went in, that's what she did. She forgot about everybody who was out there in the field with her, struggling. Because,
So
I don't know how many times we got to say
how
the
much do
same
you know
thing.
about Omarosa before she went to the White House? Do you know anything about her background, some of her works in the past? I mean, I'm asking.
I know her. I know that she started with the show with Trump that he had on TV. So she's always been the type of person to play whatever angle she can to get to where she want to be. She doing the same thing now.
So you think?
Do you think she, out of all the black activists in the country, do you think Omarosa was really the one that go into the office and really say the black community?
No, but that's
I
not
don't
the
think she's a
argument.
black activist. Like I don't think.
But that's what
Omarosa-
she portrayed herself to go in there.
She's really not. She portrayed herself as the liaison for the African American community.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
which
she
was. No,
She just
no.
did.
So here's the thing. Omarosa, again, like you said, she never had appeal in the black community. Yet, when she went to the Donald Trump White House, who really doesn't give a shit about black people's interests or there being a bona fide liaison, she still took on that role. So
Because that was the only role she could get in there
but
and be.
I'm sure they could have come up with another role than liaison to the African American community. That's what she decided to
Do you think that's the role that she saw on the list and said, "This is what I want to do"?
No, I'm saying I don't know what it was, but it's more likely that she chose that role herself. Albeit imperfectly.
We're just gonna have to agree to disagree.
Okay, cool, that's fine. Albeit imperfectly executed, she did choose a role that ostensibly was to uplift, to further the black community and the black cause.
I think
whether
he
she
was
failed or not.
struggling with black people.
And
And
he
he
went to where
said,
he
well,
knew.
what black person do I know?
Do I know?
Somebody
Exactly.
call
He already had called you. He didn't
Yeah.
the officer liaison.
Yeah.
He didn't even staff
This
the
man
office.
thought Frederick Douglass was still alive.
He didn't staff the office.
Nobody said that man was
Oh,
smart.
yeah.
This is not in defense of Trump. This is in defense of Omarosa.
Exactly.
Two totally different ball games.
Yo, man,
I almost forget about
know
that.
what? Y'all stay with these talking points, man. Well, we
So,
gonna.
so like Raphael McCary said, she might be trying to peddle her book. She might be trying to make money
Yeah.
outside
Of course she is.
I'm sure that's what.
But,
Yeah.
but that doesn't necessarily
She's not
mean
really
that she's
interested in
against-
improving the black community.
You don't know.
No.
I mean, you can have
I do know
multiple
that.
motives. You can have multiple motives to what you do. You can want to make money and still help people.
Dan,
That's totally possible.
You really think that she is trying to assist the black community in any way?
At this stage in the game,
At
what she's
any
doing right
stage
now,
in the
I'll say
game.
yeah, sure, why not? Sure, why not?
I mean, so the one thing about this
I'm gonna
is
wait for
the
that.
one thing is
So
about
you
this,
willing to bet-
I'm
you
not
willing to bet your
arguing.
hair on that?
I'm not arguing any. I'm not arguing for her moral fiber. I agree. She's an opportunist. She's somebody who her whole life has demonstrated nothing but that, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to look at other black politicians and look how they move too. Everybody didn't get into office in the White House and with the position of power and start putting up a fist and screaming black power. Barack Obama for a very long time refused to even.
Oh, boy.
No.
Oh, boy, here we
Listen,
go.
let me preface this by saying I love and respect my brother Barack Obama. I'm not about to tear him down. But I'm saying first and foremost, he's a political entity.
Yes.
And political entities, as a representative of this country, he stood as far as he could away from discrete black issues for a very long time. Admittedly himself, he said that. So why are we ignoring the fact that any other black person that gets into office does the same thing? She's a
Maxine
political
Waters is
person.
So let me ask you this: you say he stood away from black issues, but did he not still push procedures that if black people would have engaged and followed those processes that could improve their situation?
So yes, but you know what I'm not going to do?
So
I'm not going to let this devolve into a discussion about Barack Obama because this will be all day. So I'm going to say
But I want to end this by saying this: what black people have to understand is that you have to get up off your ass and get involved and save yourself some time. Barack Obama cannot. His job wasn't to go in there and save black people.
Neither-
His job
neither
was to go
Omarosa's.
in there, but that's what she played it as.
What, really?
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't. She did not brand herself as the savior of black
She
people.
sure did not.
Okay.
Omarosa's branded herself as the savior of Omarosa.
Let's see who else.
She was a black lady, so that was it.
So since we beating that dead horse, let's move on to the issue that's near and dear to my heart. Let's talk about the Catholic Church. Now,
Are you Catholic now?
I'm not Catholic, but you know, I love to say that this was headline news, but we've seen this headline dozens of times, at least in my lifetime, about the Catholic Church, or there being some expose about the Catholic Church and some scandal whereby they have concealed sexual abuses by their clergymen in their archdiocese. This latest instance in Pennsylvania has surfaced that about 1,000 victims have come forth or been found to be victimized by 300 different clergymen. And there are many, including some of my closest friends, calling on the Pope to come out and say something in opposition to this or say something to condemn these acts. Unlike what the popes have done in the past, they've pretty much been very, political in their statements, always with the protection of the church in mind utmost. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, and I'll probably chime in a little later because my blood's already boiling if you can't hear it in my voice.
You know, we talked about this last time, and I'm going to say it again. One, I think the failure of the Catholic Church is to not allow priests and nuns to marry.
Call bullshit.
I think you can call it bullshit. That is a natural process of humanity to couple and to want to seek companionship for one another, and to tell people that you can't devote a life to God and also have a spouse is foolish. And it's also contrary to the Bible itself, the Bible's teachings. Its first commandment is to be fruitful and multiply. The first thing God did after He made Adam was give him a companion in Eve. So it's counterintuitive, it's kind of religious to say you can't do that. I think that's a failure of one of the Catholic Church, and this has, in my opinion, brought this disaster upon. I know you think that predators sought out the Catholic Church as a predatory ground for what they did. I just refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that people went into the church, and in my opinion, the church is a very noble place, with such anti-nobility thoughts and actions. Did a person or two do that? Sure, I can't speak to the hearts of everyone. But do I think all of the representative 300 Catholic priests in Pennsylvania that are in this scandal, that all of them went into priesthood to be predators? I can't buy that.
So Damon, you have to willfully suspend your disbelief to imagine that the Catholic Church has not become a haven and a bastion for predatory individuals who want to prey on kids. At this point, it's incontrovertible that the Catholic Church harbors these men. They're not just a place where they come to, they get exposed, and they leave. Countless times this has happened, and what do? Their MO is to move them to another jurisdiction where they become a priest somewhere else, and they do the same thing, repeat the cycle over again. At some point, I'm not going to distinguish between the predators themselves and those that harbor them. You cannot make your argument is that, it's the actual, the tenets of their faith that is driving, the predation on these kids. And I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you were denied vagina for 10 years, is it going to make you turn to children?
No, of course not.
How about you, Quinn?
Hell no. I don't even ask me that.
Emphatically no, right? I asked you because I know the answer.
I know what you're saying. I agree with
that. Your premise is already not sound, because any one of us here, I'm not going to, there's no amount of deprivation of sex that's going to make me prey on children. So do you address that?
I get that, but like I said, there is no explaining something as perverted as child predators. So I'm not justifying in any way, shape. But I'm saying when you deny people the right of companionship and sex, stupid shit happens. I'm not defending these guys. I'm not saying that that's the only issue or explanation for it. I'm just saying I refuse to condemn the entirety of the Catholic Church as a haven for predators like this. I won't do it.
But I don't agree with it. I not to come at you disrespectful and nothing, Damon, but I don't agree with that because I feel like what Rod is saying. I feel like if you put yourself in that situation, regardless of what they're saying you shouldn't do, people cheat in their marriages all the time for being denied sex, but they don't go sleep with kids. They go sleep with another consenting adult. So I feel like from a Catholic, this is a problem in this church because this shit happens like every month. Seems like And this is only the times that we hear about it, right?
And it's 2018.
It's 2018, man.
So
like,
imagine.
Why isn't somebody going to the Catholic Church, like arresting all these people and figuring out what's going on? Like, this is something that gotta be, like, they're trying to cover up, but this is a common practice in their church.
Quentin Broadwater, you know what? Something rare just occurred.
So you know his name.
Yeah, I do. I remember your name now. I
appreciate it.
That was nerves, man. Come on, man.
That's crazy, man. Like,
listen,
you can't be recruiting this many people.
I was about to rarely agree with you. Okay, let me big you up.
Well, that is a rare agree. You can rarely agree with anybody.
Quentin Broadwater brought up a fantastic point I didn't even think about. Another threat to your theory, right? Is exactly what he said. Okay, it's not lawful to sleep with children, and it's not lawful per the church's guidelines to go sleep with adult women either, right? But why choose to be unlawful about little kids versus women if it's simply deprivation that's driving you to do this, to perform this predatory behavior? It doesn't hold up.
Like I said, I am not defending them.
You sound like
this is the only. Hey. Well, actually, I do defend people. So I'm not defending.
I kind of feel what he's saying.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm all the way there, but I think both of us realize that when we represent people sometimes that are charged with child sex crimes, one common theme is that they are in these isolated situations. You know, it's the stereotypical living in your grandmother's basement, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's not every case, but that is a common thing.
But is that the antecedent, or is that the consequence of who their personality is, what their personality is?
It's hard to say which
so how can you
chicken
guys
or the
think
egg. I'm just saying that is a common theme and something that I don't think can be dismissed.
Damn.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I think when it comes to protecting children, we should err on the side of caution. I think we should err on the side. We should err to respect the theory, which goes to protect more children than to give pass to these men who might be good men who are just so starved of sex they just got to go have sex with little kids.
Look. I'm not going to sit here and it seems like you're being very nicely conservative right now. It seems like any time we're talking about criminal justice and children, we create these, and I've got 4 kids. We have this mindset of let's just over legislate, let's over police, let's overdo this for the protection of children. And I get it. I do not want to see anybody harmed, be you adult or a child. I get that, but that is not the answer. More laws, more police, that is not the answer.
No, there should be stewardship laws. If the Catholic Church, there should be penalties, felony consequences for those adults who know that something is going on, yet they remain silent, or who do anything to cover these actions up. That's what needs to happen, and it needs to be enforced. I'm not asking for some widely expansive government entity to come into play. You know I got libertarian tendencies. I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking for accountability. That's it.
I tell you, your biggest answer to that question for accountability wouldn't not just be criminal, but also financial. You hit the Catholic Church where it hurts, which is their pocketbook. The Pope may not know who's the priest in some parish in Pennsylvania, but he will understand that he will know that priest's name when that priest or that parish in Pennsylvania or a church, whatever, is levied with a $5 million judgment, and that's only one of 300. You know what I'm saying?
I like. I'm sorry.
I'm taking it with the pocketbook.
But I like what Keith Plown is saying, and this is something we see from the church to the police to universities. People seem to always protect the institution, and that's true. And it could be that the Catholic Church is looking at this as, you know what, if we open this up, this could really, really be bad. So let's, deal with this case by case and protect our institution as opposed to actually going in and really figuring out what the problem is and addressing it.
Right, and which brings me another point. A few people I've heard on social media saying, we're just waiting for the Pope to come out and condemn these actions because what he says is really going to matter. Really? The Pope's job is to protect the image of the church.
No,
that's one of his jobs. That's one of the hats he wears. You don't believe that?
You think the Pope is a marketing person or no?
So you don't think that the Pope is the figurehead? He's the vicar of Christ. I understand that, but he's also the figurehead of the Catholic Church, which is a political position in itself. Do you disagree?
I'm not a Catholic, so I can't really speak to the.
You can read though. I read. I'm not a Catholic.
I don't read Catholicism.
I don't go to no church, but I know he that.
He's the vicar of Christ. He's the head of the Catholic.
You know what the vicar of Christ means?
Please tell me.
You know what the word is based from the base word vicarious? Okay. Means he's in lieu of God himself, or Christ himself. That's why they perform these rituals where the Pope, whereby the Pope is the intercessionary between them and Jesus Christ.
Right.
They believe this man is divine. So again, he's not just a divine or religious entity. He's a political entity as well.
I don't. Okay,
well, we can disagree on that point. Right. But what we can agree on is that anyone is foolish if they're looking at the Pope to be some moral, be on some moral high ground here. This has been going on for some very long time, a very long time within the Catholic Church, and they've never addressed it. And now, if he does address it, it is just what he's supposed to do at this point. This is a breaking point. He's going to have to open his mouth about this and be more vociferous in how he condemns the church about it.
I mean, he's just like a good cop. He's supporting. If he doesn't open his mouth up, he's basically supporting it. If you're not gonna throw the flag on the play, man, like what are you doing? Like you said, you are the head of this organization.
My boy Ralph just made a good point. I'm glad you my boy. Yo. That's my boy. Listen, he said the Vatican is its own sovereign country. The Pope is a political figure. Yo, it doesn't get more political than being the head of your own country.
I mean, you can say that. I disagree, but I do think the Pope should speak out. Also, think he should speak out not because he's a political figure, but you're wrong. He's the moral figure. If you're the vicar or Christ, then that's a position of high morality. And so you should speak out on the morality of what's going on and not on the political nature. So I agree with you that he should definitely speak out. I disagree that it's a political motive and not morality and motive. And I think this particular Pope has been very vocal and has been very moral in his stances. And I think he will speak out.
I think he will too.
Well, I mean, I know he will, but that doesn't mean anything to me. But you know,
it's because you're a heathen.
I'm not a heathen. We can move on now. Let's talk about something else near and dear to my heart. Speaking of white people who do crazy stuff, there's a physician in Orlando. Was at the Orlando airport. He arrived to the terminal late for his flight. But you know, he was so drenched in his white privilege, he felt as though they had to make a means for him to get on this flight 30 minutes before it took off from the tarmac. In his response to them not giving him what he wants, this physician, this man of my ilk, my cloth, my profession,
This boy.
he said,
Wow.
This boy embarrassed his whole community out there kicking it and punching on the floor.
He
like a damn 4-year-old.
He basically admitted what we all know, but white people always want to deny, but we know they know.
You know the white privileged
He
leaders
said-
was like, boy, what is you doing?
This man had
You were sitting out here admitting to what's really going on in these streets.
But it's just like last week when we talked about the
girl
white
South
female back in Bluffton, South Carolina, who told the police, "I'm a good white girl. Why are you treating me like
Exactly.
that?" This gentleman said, "You're treating me like a black man."
Exactly.
So this brings up a good discussion point because I often have this discussion with a lot of my friends who are not of the black persuasion. I say, there's one thing to know your privilege and still not defend others who are victims of your privilege, and there's a whole other thing to be oblivious to your privilege and then act on it. And I think there's a dichotomy there, and I treat those people separately. So let's talk about white privilege and whether this is evidence that white people actually know they are privileged in this country.
Man, absolutely, white people know they're privileged in this country. You about to be a doctor, a surgeon.
I am a doctor, bro.
Well, okay, my bad. All right,
You must have operated, son.
I'm telling you, man. It's white people sleeping out there under the bridge that wouldn't trade places with you. They know they privileged.
I doubt that.
Go out there and try it then. I'm telling you right now,
my
man.
invidious intellect.
I'm telling you right now, man.
You still black.
You still. I ain't gonna say it, but you still that.
But no, but
Jay-Z said it for us.
But not to get off topic though. I do feel there are some white people. I have friends who I've met in Houston, because pretty much everybody back in South Carolina fall into the basket. But I've met some friends in Houston who they're from places they haven't had much admixture with black people before they met me, or before they met their colleagues in medical school, or they went to all Bob Hope College or something else. They really do not understand what white privilege entails. They don't understand what it means when we say that there is white privilege. But what makes this man's action so egregious is that he is firmly aware of his white privilege, and he stated that. So do you think all white people are aware that there's privilege being white?
Yes.
And the ones that
touch
act
on it.
like
Come on,
they
man.
I don't care if they haven't had a lot of interaction with black people. They have a TV.
Exactly.
They can see what's going on.
Social media.
They know what's going on.
Television.
They know what their privilege is.
No.
And they all watch Fox
hit it on the
News.
head. He was worked up.
He was
He
drunk.
was lit.
Exactly.
And it slipped out. But they already know the deal.
had
And if it happened, there are a host of other non-black individuals. If that had happened to them, they would have been like, I'm being treated like a
Black person.
Even if they didn't say it out loud.
Absolutely. So Rod, I don't think there's a white person that doesn't know their privilege, and really in this world. And I don't think so. Now there's some that will acknowledge it, some that will deny it, some will say it exists. I don't like it, but it is what it is. But to say that there's privilege exists, but you don't have it, you don't own it, you don't know about it, I disagree. And not just because of social media, not just because of what we see on TV now. It is the way we're raised, the way history is in this country. I mean, you look back.
They've always had privilege.
They've
always been written for them.
You see it, and so anybody that's white that says that they either don't have a privilege or they didn't know they had a privilege, I don't believe.
Well, there are some that underestimate the privilege, right? I don't think they're totally oblivious. I mean, these people jumping out with these lawsuits saying they've been done wrong by affirmative action, and they clearly are oblivious to some. I think they're underestimating the privilege.
I
don't think they don't know.
I don't think they all know the full extent of it, but I agree that everybody on earth is aware of white privilege.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No matter what background, culture you come from.
So I think the problem with this is defining white privilege and it being so nebulous of a concept. I think a better question to ask is that there are also a lot of white people who don't understand your perspective as a black man. When you tell them about the police and your interaction with the police and how de-escalation is not a thing, they don't understand their whole conception of the police is completely separate from us because their experience is different. Can we really blame them for having a different perception and then them questioning what our experience is because that's all they have to reflect on?
Well, that's different, right?
I mean, that's why I changed the subject because I think white privilege is a lot more difficult to discuss.
But what you said is different. I'm not saying they're at fault for having white privilege. I'm not blaming some white people for the privilege they have. I'm just saying they can't deny they have it. And that to me is different. There's a lot of, you might be in a situation where you don't know you're using your privilege, you don't know you're being inserted. You might act a certain way in certain circumstances. Like how you said de-escalate. White people don't feel like you de-escalate a police situation. They feel like it's fine. Just comply and you'll be okay. If you did nothing wrong, then you just do what they say and you'll be all right. So it's not about de-escalating and nothing to de-escate. They started off at the bottom.
Yeah. When you're not approached, in the same manner, then that's easy for you to say.
Right.
But when you approach in the way that policemen approach us, then I mean, you start off already in an aggressive situation. So it's easy for them to say, don't act a certain way or don't do this, but a lot of times when you're seeing these things on video, you're not even seeing the beginning of how it even occurred. And I think all of us can probably speak that police don't just walk up to you friendly and all the time. I'm not saying all police are bad or whatever, but I've had those experiences where police come, they come ready for whatever could happen, and most of them they have not experienced it.
Now,
to speak on it and try to say that, well, you should just do this and you should do that, I feel like that's where their fault. That's where you can blame them for, because they need to understand that as a human in society, you need to understand what everybody deals with. You can't just speak on something if you can't speak from that person's experience, so you don't know anything about it.
So to be fair, we're talking about knowing people who have a struggle that's more than yours, because you can't. Is it fair that we don't know the privilege of white society at the higher echelons of their society? We're not aware of that. Does it go both ways?
You're not aware. I'm totally aware.
No. I mean, let's make the argument. You guys are an exception. You're selection bias. I'm saying the rest of Black America who are not aware of those privileged aspects of society. Does it go both ways? Just like they don't see us, we don't see them as well. So is it necessarily sinister that these people don't come down and attempt to see us see our point of view in every situation?
It becomes sinister when you tell people how to react in a situation you don't understand. I don't tell somebody in a higher echelon than me how you should behave, but you have your Learjet and shit like that. I don't know. But when you tell me how I should behave in a situation that I know, that's where it becomes an issue. So the privilege doesn't arise in the way, to me, in the way you described it. The privilege arises in when you tell somebody how they should behave in a situation that you don't understand and you don't have any kind of footing in.
All right, so this is a perfect segue. We talked about white privilege, so let's talk about black peril. There's a story coming out of on the press right now talking about how there was about 20 black women out in Missouri. One of them, their name was Hermisha Robinson, and the other Dornisha Zachary, who were who were denied employment ostensibly because their names were too ghetto.
Repeat that again. What was their names?
It was Hermisha Robinson and Dornisha Zachary. I'm not sure I would hire them either, to be honest. But I'm gonna put that out.
I would definitely hire them.
Nah.
Why?
Listen, because the apple don't fall far from the tree. Your mama named you that. I got to question your mama too. But now I'm playing. I'm just being devil's advocate. But let me finish. So let me put out there that this story, the credibility of some of the aspects of this story have been questioned. Right. It's now been put out that the employer did not actually send out an email stating that the actual terms of their termination, not being hired, was based on their name. So, but either way, we know this happened. So let's talk about it.
I mean, so although it sucks, and you have to have a resume name. I mean, you have to have,
disagree.
You have to have a resume name. You can disagree with it all you want, but
because your name's Genesis. That's like
you have to have
uniracial.
You have to have a resume name.
I never met a white person in my life named Genesis.
Me.
I met the group Genesis.
The Genesis, yeah, boom.
Not a person.
A bunch of white dudes.
But white people love the name Genesis. It's in the Bible. You cannot reject it. You have a Bible name, you'll be fine.
Look, and I think it's different strokes for different folks. But if I have to change my name on this resume to get a job, then I don't want to work there.
Exactly. You know what my biggest beef with this argument is?
Genesis. I'm gonna
think of how many white people. Think about how many white people you work with that have fucked up names too.
Yes.
Like they act like.
But
think of some of these names that come from across seas.
You be idealistic though. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture is what define what professionalism is, for better or worse. We have to adhere to what that is. We have to code switch at work to adhere to that. Yes, we do. So QB. Listen. Jay-Z had a quote right from one of his songs back in the day. You got to bite the bullet until you stuff in your face. You can't. Oh, my grandmother said you got to ease your hand out the alligator's mouth. You can't just go into the white people's institution and be pro-black and declare your blackness. You're not gonna get a job, and you know that. You didn't do that.
Use my own name.
You didn't do that. No, we're talking about we're talking about the extent for which we should code switch. Because we all code switch. You don't code switch?
Not where I'm gonna change my name.
I agree.
Have viewers who may not fully know what a code switch is. You want to define that for us, please?
So code switching is a set of behaviors that black people adopt in order to capitulate to society's basically ideas of what professionalism and acceptable social behavior is. So, for example, if day to day I'm speaking to you guys and the camera's not off and you dropping vernacular, yo, what up, my dude, my nigga, in the workplace. Hi, I'm Dr. Singleton. How are you? This morning.
But that's professionalism. That's professionalism.
Yes, but you can be. What defines professionalism?
Black.
Your whole conception of professionalism is based on white Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture, and you don't even know it.
No, it's not.
It's not. Professionalism is me getting my job.
It's based on workplace professionalism, etiquette. I understand.
So what defines etiquette for you?
Because I'm in an environment. I am in an environment that doesn't. I'm not talking about the same things that I'm talking about in the streets. I'm not focused on the same things that I'm focused on in the streets. So I'm not going to take that vocabulary into the workplace. I'm going to take the vocabulary and the professionalism that I need.
When you answer the phone at work, do you change your voice?
I would say this. If anybody on this podcast, everybody in my job know I'm black. Everybody.
Clearly, you're dark as night. But I mean, you don't.
It's not. This is
the way you talk, the way you move, the way you operate. It is.
QB, I'm calling bullshit.
Can I call it? But
I'll wait.
You can call it. You can.
Listen, I want you to examine what you said.
You did not wait.
So, professionalism is a conception. It's a so listen. To me, if we had to define professionalism. De novo, right? I would say it is a set of behaviors that's conducive to getting a job done efficiently and you like that, right? Getting a job done efficiently, right? In the most efficient way possible, right? So you can go on a job and you can employ vernacular from the street. You can be as black as you want to be and be more efficient on your job, see more patients, be better at diagnosing them, make more money for the company, being as black as you want to be. But that will still be construed as being unprofessional, given your own definition of professionalism. That's because you are subscribing to a set of morals that are not from you. Think about it. What you're describing as professionalism is not even, that has nothing to do with being black inherently.
That is the most backward ass shit I ever heard about. Like, what do you mean? Pride, professional pride. She's a lawyer and Damon's a lawyer. When they work and when they in the office setting, they're not talking like they are talking right here, right now. It's there's terms, there's vocabulary that you use based on what profession that you are. That's professionalism.
Really? Well, so white people employ terms. Go ahead.
But in these offices, we weren't there when these offices were originally set up, so they decided what was going to be professional. right? They decided what appropriate dress was. They decided what appropriate hairstyle was. They've decided whether or not facial hair is appropriate. So I see what you're saying, and it feels natural. It feels like, yes, well, this just is professional. But when the rules of professionalism were created, we weren't at the table.
No.
But let me ask you this: if you think we were at the table, do you think it would be much different from what it is now?
Yes.
Yes.
In what sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
look at
What sense do you think?
Look
it
at,
would be
let me
different?
ask you something. Jay-Z's organization or Puffy's organization are almost $1 billion organizations at this point, right?
Yeah.
They're unabashedly black, right? So they're making a lot more money than a lot of white professional entities, right? Being black is not necessarily.
That's a totally different.
No,
industry.
it's not.
That is right. You're talking about rap music versus being an engineer.
But we
or a
talk,
doctor.
no, they have transformed into other areas: fashion, liquor, clubs.
So do you think Jay-Z
their portfolios are
Do you
vast?
think Jay-Z goes into, when he was working with the Brooklyn Nets, do you think he goes into that boardroom the same way he goes into a studio?
Jay-Z can be Jay-Z because he's already established who he is as Jay-Z.
Yes, but
that doesn't-
before he joined on the Brooklyn Nets, he wasn't who he is today.
If you had to design your own company, would you make a suit and tie dress code?
No, I wouldn't make a
Exactly.
suit and tie dress code.
But in
where I work now, the suit and tie is not a dress
So
code.
you're lucky in that aspect. But in almost every other professional environment, at least in this country, a suit and tie.
But who's to say that that is Anglo-Saxon?
is required.
Who's to say that that's the?
You're just being contrarian.
So just like no, but like you said, Jay-Z wears suit and ties.
Yeah, when he wants
But
to.
you say he's so pro-black.
Yes, but he does it when he wants to. He doesn't have to. He's
Does he
not
do it when
necessarily.
he want to, or does he does it when he going? When he
This is
know
a-
he's going to a certain environment
First
where
of all-
that is the professional.
Yeah,
Jay-Z is a
when that the
radical
code.
example in order to make a point. The point that I was trying to make is that if we establish professionalism from the ground up, as black people, it would not resemble what you think professionalism is now.
But would it be so different? I'm not
It
saying.
may be
I'm
different.
not saying. I'm not saying
Yes,
that
it
it would
would
be
be.
totally different. I don't think it would be so
White
different.
people employ their own vernacular at work. They can do that because they're not judged based on not conforming to this professional standard. They judge us for not conforming to the standard. That's the difference. They can go and work talking about drawing penis pictures at work and ball slapping on that stuff.
No, they can't.
They can
You
listen. The
going too
concept.
far.
No, I'm being a little
Because
facetious,
if you
but
do that, they're gonna reap repercussions, and we've seen that in these days.
so you think that so you don't believe in the adage that black people have to work 10 times as hard to get the same thing?
I do. I understand that bias is there, but I'm saying white people can't come into the workplace yelling out cracker and honky and just yelling these explicitives the same way we can't come in and yelling nigga this and nigga that. They can't do it either. There's a professional respect when you get into the workplace, man.
I guess so. My statement to you, Quentin, would be if you believe that your professional environment would be any different, then you've acknowledged the fact that there is a difference, that we would do it differently, and we ascribe to a standard that's not our own.
I understand that it would be different, but will it be as different?
It doesn't matter. The degree of difference doesn't matter. It might be vast, it might be minuscule,
It's hard to say
but it will be different.
Yeah, it is,
because
but
we're so far down the rabbit hole. It's hard to say.
All right, yo. Let's delve into something a little bit more light. Let's get into some pop culture.
All right.
Those of us who haven't been in the rabbit hole, who are on social media, on Instagram,
What's that?
have that's sad, bro. We have this weekend there was some kerfuffle on Instagram concerning Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. This is hilarious to me. So Gabrielle Union with her. Never mind, I'm not gonna say that. Gabrielle Union posted a very provocative picture on IG. Headlights poking out. If you don't know what headlights are, people, headlights are
nipples,
erect nipples poking through her wet shirt as she took a photo out in a bikini. She put this on Instagram for the world to see. I saw it. I liked it.
All right, well,
I'm sure every other man, heterosexual man, liked the picture
And
as well.
woman.
You like it
women,
also?
yeah. But Jimmy Butler went a step further. Jimmy Butler said, well, damn, all caps.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade, the husband of Gabrielle Union, took umbrage to this, and he went on Jimmy Butler's page and said, "You leave caps on my girlfriend, my lady's page again. Well, damn, it's gonna be a situation, basically."
Yeah.
So I'll let you guys speak on it first, but I have my thoughts.
Actually,
Take it away.
Genesis thoughts.
Yeah, Genesis. You go.
That was total nonsense. Dwayne Wade need to get off the gas.
Well, we all in agreement there.
Damn.
This ain't no
I mean, if you post that on, I can think of no other reason that you posted it other than to get the well damn response.
So I guess, what do you think, Gabrielle, if you can put yourself in her shoes, what do you think her response would have been? Like, do you calm down, Dwayne, or just total silence?
It's hard to say. I mean, if it was me, in the back of my head, I put it out there for people to say, well, damn. So the fact that you're upset is like...
Yeah. What other reason would you put that out there?
Listen.
Yeah.
And the fact is this. Dwayne Wade played himself, man. Because if you really, really felt that way, you're not going to respond and you're going to go see this man. If you really felt that way. But I blame Dwayne Wade because he's checking the wrong person.
For real.
Exactly.
You motherfucking wife and you out here putting your nipples out
Now,
in the world?
now wait a
First of
second.
all, my wife is allowed to put her nipples out because I am an evolved man.
I would quit on this one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you
So
don't.
I'm pandering right now.
You can pander, but we don't.
You
You're
can pander,
my
but
wife.
that's
I'm
ridiculous.
not saying I own your body, but damn it, those nipples
Because
are my
you don't.
nipples. Those are my nipples. Put them on display for me and not for the world.
I'm not saying I would do it, but I don't think you can't necessarily check her. She is a public figure. She makes her money on being fine and talented, but fine.
But you could be fine with your nipples covered up.
Yeah,
You don't have to be out here with no wet t-shirt and your nipples protruding through. I feel, honestly, if I was Dwayne Wade, I would have been checking her because I'd have been like, what you doing?
And what you gonna check? What you gonna do? How you gonna check me, bro?
First of all, delete that picture and take that shit down. All right.
Yeah. We don't do that in this
Are you my
house.
husband or my daddy?
I will be both
And
if I need to be
now
right
that you've dug in, I definitely ain't deleting it.
Yeah, that's you're a contrarian.
Well, you just deleted yourself from the Wade household.
Well, as you can see, there are about 253,000 other people standing in line.
But those are free likes. That ain't no money.
Don't nobody want Gabby. Don't nobody but Dwayne want
And those
Gabby.
likes aren't the
She
same.
been in these streets single for 40-something years. Dwayne Wade can't save her. Don't nobody want her, man.
Yeah,
I like Gabrielle.
Seeing how we have a consensus on that, there's not much to debate, right?
But there's a different issue in that whether Dwayne should have checked Gabrielle or not.
He should have checked his
Quinn
wife.
and I are both on the same respect that he should definitely
I
check
just, I
Gabrielle.
just don't know how you would. How do you
define
check
check
a
tools.
grown woman?
You tell her.
You tell her,
take
that
that
shit
shit
ain't
down.
cool.
Don't do it again.
Okay, and so you've told me
Like, them
we
pics should
disagree.
come to my phone.
Exactly.
They shouldn't be on Instagram.
Exactly.
But it didn't, and I posted it on mine. How you gonna check it?
Take that shit down. The only person I think who could say that to you would be your father or your husband, and I am your husband. The
I think
only
it's
person that
reasonable
can
to
stand
take
to you
that
and check you is
take
me.
into consideration your request. I will think about it, disagree, and I'm gonna keep
This
it.
sound like
You can
another
disagree,
topic for
but you can
another
take
week.
that shit down. Though.
Yeah, we can touch
I
on it.
mean, no, I'm sorry. I think to answer your question, I really do believe the only person in this world that can check me now is my wife, my mom, and when they get old enough, my kids. No other person in this world, be you anybody else, I feel can check me. And so, vice versa, if my wife put a picture out there, I would totally check it. You
Well,
take this
I
shit
agree
down
that
right
he
now.
should have gone to her with it and not Jimmy Butler. But it's only so much you're gonna be able to do.
She can take the shit down. I mean, it's out there, so it's too late. But I mean, you know.
I tell you what, if that was me, that picture would still be on Instagram.
That might show you who's wearing the pants in the household.
I tell you that shit right
But
now.
so since we all in agreement on
wouldn't be on
that,
Instagram.
let's talk about the topic which we slated as being the main topic of discussion today.
Well, I want to before you say that, I want to say Tiffany Mills has said that I don't know about checking, but there should be a mutual understanding of what's acceptable in a relationship. But that would be mutually understood up front that shit ain't acceptable.
It's hard to say what will be mutually understood up frnt. This might be a
So before
situation
you
that
move forward,
arises
so
after
let-
you're in a relationship.
So before you move forward, Rod,
You gonna move on. You gonna segue.
Okay, if roles was reversed, if he was out here, well, you know he wear fruity shit anyway, so it wouldn't be far fetched to see Dwayne Wade out here in a fucking man thong with some bullshit like that. But if all her friends was Google and Gaga on that, then what would it be then?
I don't think that will be. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that.
No, I'm
As a
asking
matter
you I'm asking if this was your situation.
Okay.
And your husband
if I was married
Put that picture out there.
If I was married to a public figure, then that comes with the territory.
That's wrong.
No,
if you were married,
because I ain't never seen Oprah nipples
If
out
you-
there in no wet
Yeah,
t-shirt.
but you have seen plenty of. I'm thinking
Yeah,
of
the
tomorrow
Instagram
morning,
thoughts.
I date myself, but you think about exactly. But you think about guys who
The
have
lame-
made their
the lame
living
protagonist of every Tyler
on
Perry
their
movie.
looks, and so it's not uncommon to see them in provocative poses.
But if you made your fame on looks, but not on a certain kind of looks,
Porn star
or
looks.
She
music,
made her-
didn't.
she made
was a
her
cute
fame
face, but she
on
acted.
no.
Prior to this, we've never
She
seen.
has played the
Gabrielle
vixen in pretty much every
Union.
movie.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen Gabrielle Union naked or anything like revealing her body.
I did see her in the
Or-
DMX movie with the red panties on.
But you never seen her revealing her body.
But she wasn't married.
She
yet.
wasn't wearing nipples. You didn't see her nipples. You didn't see her breasts. I mean, it's totally different ballgame.
It was covered.
She can show her.
It was just.
Bottom line is, it's a game time decision based on what Dwayne Wade and his wife have established as, you know, what's decent for their relationship, and I don't think it's any of our business. I think he's lame for those.
It is now because she put it out.
I think totally my business.
So yeah, he's lame for speaking out, but we can touch on that at another time. We're going to talk about something that we touched on last week: social media dysmorphia. You weren't tuned in last week, but last week we discussed, we talked about how social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and their ubiquitous filters have changed the way people are seeing themselves. Some have even come up with this coin term that there's now dysmorphia, whereby these women are trying to recapitulate these features that they have on the filters and try to bring them to real life. So let's touch on that some more because we didn't really get a chance to delve into it. Who do you think is to blame for this? Who do you think is advancing this pathology, men or women, or a little bit of both? Or who do you think most of the blame lies with this?
What we talked about last week in a more specific sense was women changing their appearances to match this body dysmorphia or incorporating that to match filters, and whether men bear a responsibility in that. And on that front, I said no. I'm a staunch believer in personal responsibility, and I think I can tell you I like ABC in a woman. I can tell you I like curvy. I like big breasts and a big butt and a small waist, all that kind of shit. And if you have it, great. If you don't, great. But if you go out and take what I told you I like and change your body to match what I want, then that onus is 100% on you, in my opinion, and it's not on me at all. And I think that applies to society as a whole. So when women say that they change their body to match what men want, I think that's not fair, because you are in charge of your own body. You make whatever decision you want with your own body, and no matter what influences you allow to input on how you make a decision, that's still your decision. And so men don't bear responsibility for women changing their body, and women don't bear responsibility for men changing their body.
So regardless of what we think of whose responsibility or where the blame lies, right? The fact that we know that this is now a thing, an entity, should we be allowing our children, our daughters, to be on these social media platforms knowing what comes with this now? I mean, knowing that regardless of what underlies the pathology of them seeing themselves more so how the filter projects them more than reality, should we be allowing our children to be engaging in these social media platforms?
But hadn't that always been around? I mean, we've always had magazines.
But filters.
It wasn't as accessible. Anyone with a camera phone.
Right, but I can
add a
believe
filter.
myself into something else.
Well, yeah. You can take a picture and change yourself up. You can filter it and put them ears and all that craziness that they do.
But those are some filters. But there are filters where you can slim your waist, make your boobs big. I mean, there are all kind of filters out there.
Yeah, and then there's the gym that can do that too. But you don't see them running to the gym trying to go to so no, that's bullshit. But I'm thinking like this: how can you blame that on a man to say that I'm doing this because men are out here putting pressure on us to look a certain way? Right. And at the end of the day, you go out here and do this, and you still don't get the man. So I'm totally lost on this. Like, how is this a man's fault?
Okay, so just not even 10-15 minutes ago, we were talking about, how work culture and professionalism is influenced by this other race, right? And how we in some way conform, and that was put on us. Now that women are saying, well, we conform based on this pressure, this societal pressure, these things that men have put out there, and we in some way conform. Now it's unheard of. Everybody want to talk about personal responsibility.
But that's the problem. It ain't. Go ahead.
I was with you, and I agree with you still 70%. We here, right? If you were here last week, I talked about that.
How you hear y'all 70%?
That's about as much as you can get with me. But anyway, so we talked about last week how some of the normatives for beauty for black women that black women have adopted have been inculcated in them from slavery times up until now. The media has always projected their images of what constitutes beauty. Black women have been denigrated, and for them having the thick lips and the dark skin, the kinky hair, all the things that represents $1 billion industry now for white women to try to, or other people to acquire these same features, despite the fact that black women are still spending all this money to look other than black. So I agree with you that it comes from somewhere, but I wouldn't necessarily put it on the black man.
It's not. It's not all on the black man.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think
a
it's
lot.
none.
I think it's
Oh,
none
of
on the-
course
on the
you don't
man.
think it's none, but it is some on the brothers.
How? On the brother? How?
Because there is not all brothers, right? So it's understood that this conversation is not applicable to every woman or every man. But as a whole, brothers are moving towards glorifying the itty bitty, impossibly small waist and the big booty, and so which has increased the industry for these rib crushing corsets and every other thing. Now I'm just so sorry if you trying to act like the fact that is not the fact that brothers like that or some brothers like that should have no influence on the way sisters see themselves. That's crazy.
So can I say something? Can I say
Of
something?
course you can.
So you're saying that men they have some responsibility in this. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying
Or some
responsibility is not the word I'm looking for. I'm saying that the way women view themselves, the things that they think of as beautiful, is in part driven by the way men feel.
So do you feel like money also may have something to do with it?
Explain.
Meaning, like, you see a lot of these girls on Instagram, it's like Instagram models and promoting products and stuff, right? More so than them. I see that more so than I see them doing it for the attention of a man. So I would argue to say it's more so driven based on financial gain than the attention of men.
You could say that, but what about all the women out here wearing these rubber corsets, sweating to death in the summer? That's not.
Because they're trying to get to the money. The corset is
That's
trying
not
to get
on Instagram.
Now I say,
Instagram.
you know what? I disagree with that too, because I see 200+ pound women out here getting chose every day. So
Agreed.
So
And I'm
I'm
not
just
saying
saying.
you have to do it, but I think it's disingenuous to act like being 200+ pounds could not present an issue. Women can't.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what we're saying. The issue is when you change your body, when you change your body in a surgical way to match whatever you think, whatever reason. I think that is 100% on you. I don't think any no matter what.
That's unfair
so
to
Dennis,
sisters because for
it's
so long
business.
we've been having to adjust our hair.
No,
We've
you
been
didn't have to.
Yes, we had.
No,
When
you
we were
didn't.
at work, there are plenty of places at work where you weren't going to get the job.
My aunt's been
if
having
you
dreads
didn't
for
have
30, 40
So
years.
now Lathan got a
There
sharp
are
ball
plenty of
fade.
places. There are plenty of places where you can't, and we all know that. And so sisters have been having to adjust their look for years.
So how about now, though?
And brothers do play some role in it.
So listen, I don't think we're arguing whether we play a role. We're arguing how much of a role, because brothers, you can't you can't argue that brothers haven't been subject to the same pathology as black women, right? We've been subject to the same gender beauty standards as you guys have, right? So is it on us that we all fall a victim to the standards, or is it on you? You don't see us making radical changes to our bodies to appease you guys.
Right, but the sisters, and
Oh, yeah.
this is about to take me into a place that I'm not intending to go, but the sisters are being left in the dust. So the sisters are trying to make all these adjustments to stay relevant. I mean, it's just the bottom line. You can like it or not like it.
No, it comes down to personal
but it's
accountability.
true.
What it comes down to.
And now we want to go, whenever it's the
Yes.
sisters and we talking about our issues, then we all want to go back to
No,
personal
because
accountability.
you weren't here, Janice. The last few episodes we talked about a few of these things, and one of the things we talked about was like miscegenation, of blacks marrying white or other races, and I shared my opinion on that, and you and I would be on one accord for that. However, in this particular situation, we have a lot of black women right now who, despite the wave of black men adoring natural beauty and wanting the black woman to return to that essence, they're still putting $1,000 weaves in their hair, still putting a pound of makeup on their face. Like
that's
it's still
a hard mindset.
So
to
it's
change.
not just on us, because we sitting here
It's not
trying to
all
reverse the
on
course.
you. It's not all on you, but you do bear some responsibility.
I
and
don't
you
think
can
so,
do it.
because we've been chasing y'all since y'all been wearing jelly shoes, and that
No,
shit ain't
no.
never been in fashion. But I mean, no matter how long, men have always pursued women, no matter how y'all look, no matter what society has said. Black men have always chased y'all, ran behind y'all, and wanted y'all, and then now all of a sudden y'all going through all these changes. And I personally, I don't even like it. Like all this enhanced bodies. And I ain't gonna lie, if I go back on Instagram and look at it, I'll be like, look, babe, look at her. But
I don't want that.
But I'm not. That's
right.
not what I'm out
I
here
don't want
trying
fair.
to pursue.
It's like when I go to a car show, I might see like an AMG McLaren that can only fit like one person, but it's an AMG McLaren. I'm like, that's a dope car. Look at this car. I'm taking pictures with it. I love it, but I don't want to take it
right
home.
back to my
I don't want to
Toyota.
drive it every day.
And drive it.
And what, the sisters, the Toyotas? I mean, what?
No. It's a faulty
but
analogy,
that's
but
realistic.
it's not complete analogy. But you get what I'm saying.
I do, which is why
what you
I'm not
lust
putting
over is
it
not what
all
you
on
desire
the-
necessarily to marry, right?
Agreed. And so I think there is something to be said for understanding what men might like and swipe and whatever on Instagram and what they might want at the house. But at the same time, sisters are still trying to find the balance of being true to themselves, trying to really exhibit their natural beauty, but still be attractive in society. I mean,
I think, and maybe just me, the number one quality of black women is not the shape of their bodies, but the strength of their personality and the strength of their ability to be who they are. I mean, they stand tall, they are who they are. I've always admired that.
I like it all.
Thank you. Right? Rarely do you see black women have body images issues. I mean, maybe they do to some extent, but you can see a 200+ pound black woman know she's beautiful and rock out shit that's kind of like, wow, but she knows she's beautiful. And that to me is a strength of it all. I think if you change your body, the only thing we can control in this world to 100% for the most part is our body and how we perceive ourselves. So if you change your body, no matter what influences society you've perceived, you've received, or you understand, it's all on you.
but this is akin to trying to speak on something when you have not walked in this person's shoes that we just talked about. No, I'm just saying we were just talking about that, and until you have had to walk a mile in a sister's shoes, it is very difficult to understand how all these outside influences affect self-esteem, body image. Now, don't get me wrong, we're getting stronger, we're getting better because you have some of it.
But I walk a mile in my shoes that says, like sisters are being abandoned by the black man. The black man is not here no more. Out of 100 black men out there, 50 of them, some amazing stat that 50 of them are in prison, and 30 of them are married, and 10 are crazy. At least 10% of the black men that are eligible for pickup, and 100% of sisters that are out there just roaming free like that when nobody's getting them. I live that shit. So and I fight it all the time. I if you want to argue perception and reality, then that is something that both in the black race we share an issue. But like I would say to you, no matter how black women perceive black men, I think if black men or if myself make a change, it's still on me. You can perceive and you can say whatever you want to say to me about me, and if I change in reflection upon you, then I've done that. Right, and I don't think it's fair for me to say I did it because you, therefore you bear responsibility.
Yeah, because we taking y'all with everything.
Here we go.
Oh my God!
No, I know y'all ain't.
Ain't no bag for me. You getting the Cadillac of me.
So let me ask you this right here: are you familiar with Sammy Sosa, the baseball player?
Yes.
So what if brothers is out here doing the Sammy Sosas then?
The Vibes Cartel.
Yeah.
What?
You know what he did?
No.
Semi lighting the shit out of this kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
He pulled a Michael
yes.
Jackson
Yeah.
on this.
So that's just not even a thing, right? That's not. I don't feel like there's a credible argument that sisters are out here promoting that, or even.
But y'all do
making
be promoting
brothers-
chocolate. So what if the light skinned brothers was going to the tanning bed trying to catch up? Then I mean, would y'all take responsibility for that?
If that was a thing, that would be a discussion.
Oh, it is a thing. Because ever since Wesley Snipes made Passenger 57,
it's a thing that chocolate men are style. But if brothers not out here dealing with those type of images, they not out here trying to tan, and they just come as you are.
Exactly.
we got a light skinned brother here who can speak on that right now. I mean,
and love it.
And we accept y'all.
Okay.
Quentin just said 200+ pound women, 200+ pound women
chose every
are
day.
getting chose every
every
day.
day.
And there are plenty of them that are not.
Well, I mean,
So-
that doesn't mean because they're 200+ pounds, they just be shitty.
But that
could just be-
could be, or it could be because they're 200+ pounds. I mean, like,
You can be 200+ pounds.
But isn't that hard to say when the other ones are getting chose?
So Genesis, it's interesting that you put so much weight on what the black man has done to influence the black woman's decisions and how she sees
It's
herself.
not just the black woman,
No, don't do that, because this is a beautiful segue into what we're about to talk about. There's a GQ article that recently came out saying that, in fact, what we talked about a couple weeks ago as well, women don't even dress for us. Women dress for other women. So this further puts a significant dent in your point. So let's talk about it.
That's partially
100%.
That's partially.
You know why I know that's true? Because I prefer my women wearing
tennis shoes,
yep, tight.
We all do.
And
Lululemon
shirt
and a sports bra.
And you know how often my lady go out to dinner with that on?
I'll tell y'all a story. This is the story I use to basically dramatize how different how we see you guys and how you see yourself. I was going to a New Edition concert with my significant other at the time. And she knew we were gonna dance. She knew it. She knew that's our group. We gonna dance, we gonna move. And the parking lot, we cheap, so I'm gonna park all the way out in the residential area, we gonna walk, right? I said, yo, wear some comfortable clothes and wear some sneakers. I told her 3-4 times. You know what she did? When I went to go pick up high heels, a tight dress. By the time the show was over,
New Edition.
yeah, in the middle of the show, she was complaining her feet were hurting, and I had to carry her to the car, and I was pissed off, and I ain't talked to her for a week. You know what? She didn't care what I had to say. I was supposed to be the person, the object of her affection.
She had to be.
I was supposed to be the one she getting beautiful for, but she wanted to look good for all the girls that was going to be in that venue. That's how crazy y'all are.
I won't deny that you will consider other females and what you're gonna put on, but that is not all you consider.
Yeah, right. What else do you consider?
You consider what men think too.
But what about your man? If your man is saying, "Please, baby, put on these shoes and this
well, it
this
depends.
shirt,
Now
this
we
wall."
going to a concert. I'm just not about to.
Why? Why? Anybody gonna see you and care about you but me?
I'm starting to see what the problem is.
I'm just saying. Once again, I mean, especially, and I do think women dress for women over men. So if you dress for women, you can change your body for
That's
women.
true.
I mean, you compare yourself against each other, and we would want you no matter what you do.
No, that's not true.
All right.
You had me till you just got totally ridiculous there.
So we come to a consensus on that.
Which is what?
That y'all dress for each other. So therefore, your point about it being the weight of this being the blame being on us.
No, I said we in part dress for each other.
In part.
Yes.
And then you part dress for just
Men, which could include your own man.
Huh? What?
I'm saying, like, if your man is making a request for you to wear like tennis shoes to a concert, you might not
ignore
be feeling that.
You ignore him and put your high heel shoes on.
Y'all never feeling that because I ain't never seen a woman at a concert with tennis shoes on. Ever.
Yeah, that's true. I wear tennis shoes.
So I think we have debunked this argument.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, we won.
We won 3-1. So with that being said,
y'all don't want to take any responsibility.
We won't kick her while she's down. Because she outnumbered right now.
That's only fair.
Andre want to speak up and help her out.
No, I know Andre feeling it. She know the
Actually, I think she's on our side.
We are going to press on, gentlemen. Yeah, y'all don't respect the facilitator, man. if my name was Brendan Dunn, y'all would have been quiet.
No, we wouldn't.
Yeah, y'all would.
No, we wouldn't.
Wow, you feeling mighty small right now,
Anyway,
bro.
Sir, you remember when you on the other side of this table, it is the worst trying to get word from the other side.
Well, you know what? I have empathy now. This was a character building trial for me, and I appreciate you.
And you're Brendan Love himself.
But before we get out of here, we're gonna do our segment of black people magic. This week it happens to be black girl magic again, fellas. We got to step up.
No, they need to start recognizing us. Like that's what need to happen.
So what you want to talk about? You want to talk about what you want to talk about?
I'm sure somebody black did something good.
Before we,
but let's talk about Travis Scott. He doing Astro
man,
World.
not big enough. So
What?
I'm not legend yet.
How about the first black photographer to have a cover image on
Bought it yesterday.
Vanity or whatever that magazine.
Big 'em up.
Vogue.
Big 'em up.
Yeah. So how about that?
So I have 2 black girl magics this week.
Go right ahead.
I get the more solemn one out the way. Aretha Franklin, we talked about her last week. The Queen of Soul is going on to glory. You know, what most people don't realize about Aretha Franklin is that she was a very strong activist. I recall one time reading about how when Angela Davis was in prison, she offered to front her bail, which was $250,000 U.S. currency in the 1960s. That's a lot of money right now. And she was going to put it up. She's spoken out multiple times about issues pertaining to the black community, despite what that may have meant for her album sales during that period of time. And she's losing her is a big loss to the black community. She succumbed to advanced pancreatic cancer of the neuroendocrine version, from what I hear. And she will be missed, but she is a pillar. She's a pillar in the black community as far as our history is concerned. I believe she wasn't just the Queen of Soul. She was more than that.
I thought you were gonna sing us a little Aretha.
Oh, what's your favorite Aretha song? I'll tell you mine.
Chain of Fools.
Chain of Fools?
Yes. Love it.
Ain't no way.
Ain't no way.
One Step Ahead.
You know who Aretha Franklin is?
Outkast. Whatever, man. So yeah, I would sing, but I don't want to do that to y'all. But and other black girls magic. I don't know if you guys follow Angela Bassett on Instagram. But
Follow her in my dreams.
yeah, I'm just gonna put this out there. I have never lusted for a sexagenarian. That's a 60-year-old, by the way. Like I have Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett posted a photo on Instagram in her bathing suit, and I gotta tell you, when I first saw it, I didn't know it was Angela Bassett because I didn't look at her face. And until I looked at her face about 3 minutes later, I realized it was Angela Bassett, and I said I gotta be a vegan, man. Like it's got to be something to this vegan. Lorenz Tater's a vegan. That dude doesn't age. She doesn't age. Like it's something to this vegan stuff, man. I might have to consider it. But I just want to say that is a beautiful black woman, and the black don't crack for sure.
Yeah.
So back to you.
She gonna have
Genesis.
everybody at the bingo hall this weekend.
Good choices. Those two were good ones.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add some black magic?
I think you covered it, man.
So we good. All right. So with that, we're going to end the show. This installation of intelligence, where we give you the knowledge with the power to change.
Don't forget to give our web.
Yeah,
Facebook, YouTube.
we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I don't know offhand the address is gentspodcasting.com.
Gentspodcast.
Gentspodcast.com. On Facebook, we're Intelligent.
Gents Podcast.
Man, we gonna post that thing on the page. Y'all come on the page and check us out. Y'all come support us. Share the page.
Like
We
and
can
subscribe.
ride some black boy magic for that shot, for that ending right there.
Yeah.
Like
So
and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
yeah, please like and
Y'all
subscribe
go
if
to
you
the
like what you're
page.
seeing. Even if you don't like what you're seeing, please support us. Give us some negative feedback. We'll curse you out and then we'll make changes as necessary. I am your host today, Rod Singleton, as the facilitator. This is my boy Quentin Broadwater. This is my boy Damon Harris. This is my girl Genesis Draper, and
Thanks
of course,
for having me.
paying back to the woman that makes it all happen.
Black Girl Magic Wand.
That's the real black girl magic. And we'll see you guys next week, same time. Probably a little late, but that's how we do.